Now, we touched on this a little earlier. One of my colleagues had an incident with an airline, so they made an inquiry via Twitter, and they just got a generic response back and a no follow-up. That doesn't sound good to me.
No, not at all. I'm not too sure. There was an incident quite recently. It was all over the radio here and in some of the press, where somebody was bumped off the plane and then was quite angry and then was rerouted to the wrong airport. So an incident like that explodes very quickly. So it exploded beyond the social media because it went into the general press, went into radio. And that was also because there was a generic response. You cannot, in that example, have just a generic response. And that's why I said, if you have the ability to manage it within a simple console or dashboard, and you have the engagement capabilities, so as soon as you see it if it's flagged that there's a complaint, you need to respond immediately to that complaint, or escalate it to the right person. You can't just have an automated reply, because that's the quickest way to cause a blow up.
Now, is there a South African company that's doing it really well?
There are a number of companies locally that are doing it very well. There's
are there any that stand out, I guess?
Besides my own company.
You can say your own if you like.
No, obviously, I represent a company called 25am. We sell, we represent a set of software out of the Salesforce marketing cloud stack. It's called Radiant 6. It does monitoring, engagement, and social media marketing. But there are a host of other platforms that do something similar. And there are a host of other agencies that also do something similar and sell similar products. So there's quite a number of them out there, and it all depends on what sort of level of engagement you're looking for. Some are more geared to listening and escalating internally. Some are actually very well positioned to train and to provide that input into internal teams.
Well, are there any brands that are doing it really well?
There are a number of brands that are doing it very well. Obviously, the most sort of highlighted example over the last few years has been FNB and how they've turned that around. From having the CEO tweet all the way through to how they've managed responses and how they've quickly turned around any negative press. So I think FNB is a very good example in the financial services industry. The other one is potentially in the motor vehicle industry. I think BMW have done a really good job. They've not only used it in all of their positive environments, like when they're launching new cars, but they've also had a couple of incidences. There was a strike a couple of years ago at the BMW plant in South Africa, and it started generating negative press, especially about exports, and they very quickly turned that around and minimized the effect on their company and their brand, as well as their sales. So there's a number of examples where people have used it very effectively on a negative side. But on the positive side, it's a very quick way of accelerating positive things. We all know that social media is the new word of mouth, and if you say something on your social media platform, I tend to believe it more than if I hear it via a medium, like a news channel. So if something positive happens and a brand interacts with you in a positive way and we escalate it, you're more likely to share it, and that so-called going viral element helps. Viral's not always a cute video about a kitten. Sometimes it's word of mouth, saying I really had a great experience, and a lot of people positively reinforce that, and that's what most brands want.